welcome back to Life Skills. Today we're going to be dealing with a topic that isn't talked about a lot and a topic that a lot of us shy away from. Today we're going to be talking about stress management. I don't think there's any one of us who can say that I don't feel stressed. We all feel stressed at some point of time or the other. We all go through circumstances and situations that make us feel stressed out, whether in our personal lives, whether related to our jobs, our studies, our health, our finances, our relationships. There may be so many aspects of our lives that cause stress. So, we need to understand what exactly does this term stress entail, what are the effects of stress, and how we can engage in stress management. A few definitions of stress include responses that disturb the body's equilibrium and pressure experienced by a person in response to life's demands. We all go through various kinds of situations in life that definitely put a lot of strain on us. You, as students, will face challenges in terms of your studies, journal submissions, files corrections, your tests that you need to study, examinations that you need to do well in. So, definitely, you will experience some kind of pressure. If you go through a stressful time in your studies, it's definitely going to disturb your body's equilibrium as well. It could be possible that you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, maybe you feel more irritable, you lose a sense of calmness. There are some people who tend to eat a lot of junk food, thereby disturbing the equilibrium of healthy food within the system. I'm sure you get the drift by now. They call stress the silent killer. A lot of youngsters today undergo heart attacks, and we don't even realize that these heart attacks are all caused because of stress. The word stress is derived from the Latin word stringere, which means to draw tight. Whenever we are stressed, we do feel a sensation of being held back, a sensation of tightness, whether in the way we operate or in the way our body feels. There are different types of stresses. If we look at the first point, there's something called eustress versus distress. Eustress refers to good stress. Now, you may say, how can stress be good? A good kind of stress is stress that leads you to perform well, stress that leads you to do well in whatever task you've undertaken. For example, if you have a test coming up, eustress is the stress that will motivate you to study well, that will motivate you to perform well, that will motivate you to say, I'm going to give it my best shot and I'm going to do well this time. However, the other side of the coin is distress. Let's take the same situation. You have a test to answer. Distress is a feeling of anxiety, a feeling of nervousness. I don't think I'm going to pass, or I don't think I'll do well. I don't know if I'll be able to study all of this in time. You see what I mean? Same situation, but we can experience both, a good kind of stress and a bad kind of stress. What stress we experience is entirely our choice. The three other types of stresses. Acute stress. This is the kind of stress that we feel for a short period of time. So, if our tests last for 3 days, acute stress may be experienced for the 3 days of that duration, purely because you have to answer tests. Episodic stress. This is the kind of stress one feels with regard to a certain event or a situation. Let's say, for example, you are part of the organizing committee for an event. Definitely, there are going to be stresses in terms of organization, in terms of funding, in terms of how the entire event is going to pan out. But once the event is over, the stress will also just go. Hence, episodic. And the last type of stress is chronic stress. This is a kind of stress that just doesn't end. Maybe this is the kind of stress that our mothers go through because they always have to take care of the home and see to various things. If you work a very stressful job, you may just experience chronic stress because you never experience a sense of relaxation at your job and you always feel worked up and tense. What exactly is a stressor? A stressor is anything that causes us to feel stress. In technical terms, a stimuli preceding or precipitating a change. We can experience physical stressors, certain events or activities that we do that lead to a strain on the body. For example, for those of you who are sports people, taking part in sporting events and sporting competitions definitely puts physical strain onto your body. Farmers may have to do a lot of lifting with regard to their work, and hence their job is a physical stressor. Psychological stressors are those stressors that lead to a strain on the mind. For example, a job. Any kind of job that you take on definitely leads to stress. So, depending on what kind of job you work, it can be extremely stressful or mildly stressful for you. Maybe you are in a certain situation in your home, in your family, in your friend circle, or even in your personal life that is tumultuous. Maybe you are going through a period of change. Maybe there are problems at home. All those would comprise of physical stress, psychological stresses that put a strain onto your mind. So my question for you is, pause the video, take some time out and seriously ask yourself, what are some of the stressors in your life? We can maybe analyze this from 2 points of view, before the lockdown and after the lockdown. Or rather, during this whole lockdown period, what exactly are we going through? For you as students, your stressors would definitely include your examinations, your student life. What would your physical stressors be? Maybe travel, maybe your heavy bags. Whatever you can think of, pause the video at this point and jot down your stressors so that you are aware of what exactly causes you stress. The next topic that I'd spend a little time on, student stresses. These are some of the areas in a student's life that could lead to stress. You may experience one, you may experience all of them, but there's no one here who can say, I don't relate to any of them. When I talk about peer pressure, what exactly do I mean? The pressure to conform, the pressure to fit in, the pressure to be cool, to be accepted. Everybody's doing this. Why can't I? Everyone in my friend circle has a new phone. Mom, Dad, I need to buy a new one too. Peer pressure. Everyone in my friend circle is going to the party this weekend. I need to be there as well. I need to be seen. Peer pressure. We may not realize it, but peer pressure can put a lot of strain onto ourselves. We begin to think about what all we need to do in order to fit in order to be accepted. And knowingly or unknowingly, we take on a lot of stress. The next, and I think this is a point that is extremely common for all students, studies and examinations. I think that it's unfair for us to say, don't be stressed out over your studies or don't take so much of tension over your tests or examinations. We are but human and it is natural to be worried. However, being so stressed out that you can't study, you can't concentrate is detrimental. Students, how about applying eustress to your studies and exams? Maybe you could say, hey, I have 6 files that need to be completed over the weekend. I'll use my time well enough, put myself under the pump and get it done. You feel a sense of stress, but it's a good kind of stress. So too with your examinations. Instead of feeling distressed, why not feel a sense of eustress? I have 6 papers I need to answer. I'm going to plan my study time well so that I can study effectively, concentrate well, and ultimately do well. The next topic, relationships. Relationships will encompass both friendships as well as romantic relationships. It's at this age that our friends mean the most to us. When we are in college, we really need our friends to survive. If we don't have many friends, we feel a lot of stress. Am I not popular? Do people not want to talk to me? So too, relationships. We see a lot of romantic relationships around us and we ask ourselves, why am I not in one? Does nobody want to date me? We do feel a sense of stress and we don't want to admit it. Nobody wants to talk about it. But students, it is completely normal to feel a sense of stress. However, is it really worth breaking your head so much about increasing a friend circle or simply dating somebody just because it's a trend? The next 2 problems are very serious problems, family problems and personal problems. We never know what the person next to us could be experiencing. Like I say, and this is one of my favorite quotes, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Family problems could include divorce, separation, assault, health problems may be faced by a parent or a sibling, financial difficulties, emotional problems, strain between family members. And personal problems could include problems with one's health, both physical as well as mental, a feeling of emotional disturbance, and the like. Even though there are many of you students who are watching this video, it's important to know what are the stresses you will face as an adult. And those of you adults who are tuning in, I'm sure you can relate. The first 2 are very closely linked: managing one's home and managing one's job. It truly is a task. Managing your home in terms of its resources, in terms of the finance, in terms of the people in the home, taking care of the parents, taking care of the children, taking care of the pets, taking care of the garden, making sure there's enough food at home, ensuring that the bills are paid. This can really be stressful. And I think we can all say hats off to our parents for managing our homes. Managing your job. Very often we find it difficult to manage our jobs. Whatever work that we ultimately get into sometimes can be very stressful. Why do I say that managing one's home and managing one's job are linked? Well, this is because if sometimes you can't manage your home situation well, all that stress filters into your job. And vice versa. If you're stressed out at work, Very often, you bring that stress home, and it will affect the way you manage your home. Let's look at the next three problems that are all interlinked: family problems, personal problems, financial problems. As a working individual, it's very important to take care of your finances. Handle your money well. Save and not spend ridiculously. Allocating your funds. How much do I spend on the groceries? What are my bills going to be? What about medicines? Very often, there are people who work and who literally live hand to mouth. They earn and they cook and survive for that day. Family problems would include issues that a family may have at home. Like I said in the previous section, divorce, assault, separation, problems with regard to one's marriage, problem with regard to one's family or one's in-laws, problems with regard to the children, emotional difficulties, strains that are experienced in our relationships, personal problems. We're suffering with